decano de la Facultad de Ingeniería de la Universidad de Tel Aviv, quien además es conferencista y organiza eventos que tienen que ver con la innovación y la tecnología tanto nacionales como internacionales. Él nos va a platicar de cómo y por qué Israel se ha convertido en la llamada nación startup, para que podamos conocer los secretos de este ecosistema desde dentro. Así que démosle un caluroso aplauso a Josie Rosenbox, por favor. Gracias.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I speak in English. I apologize. I don't know any Spanish, but I hope you can understand me. I want to thank first of all Jaime, Karen, and all other people that organized this very interesting day and very helpful for Tel Aviv University. I'm the dean of the largest faculty in Tel Aviv, over 4,000 students. In the next 20 minutes, I'll try to share with you some of our innovations. So, as an appetizer, you already have heard that Israel is the startup nation. I want to show you a short movie, and I want to emphasize that some of the inventions that you will see in this movie were originated in Tel Aviv University and in the Faculty of Engineering.
Some say the world should boycott Israel. If you're one of them, you should know this would be a mission impossible in the West. That's because Israeli technology is everywhere. When you get up in the morning, get into your car and drive to work, you probably use Waze to avoid traffic. Waze was developed in Israel. If your eyes stray from the road for a moment, you will promptly be warned by your mobile eye safety system, another Israeli development. Your workday is stressing you out. Your smartwatch will monitor your pulse and remind you to slow things down a little, thanks to an electro-optic sensor developed in Israel. Your laptop most probably runs on a processor developed in Intel, Israel. Do you use the internet next time you visit Facebook and Google or use Microsoft products? Remember, they all use network components developed by Mellanox from Israel. Do you transfer data on memory sticks? That technology was invented in Israel. Those family and friend photos you snap with your mobile camera, the camera was developed in Israel. Enjoy getting help from Google Complete. You guessed right, that too was developed in Israel. And last but not least, next year, Israel Aerospace Industries from Israel and Facebook will launch a satellite that will provide internet connection in remote areas where even water is not available.
Okay, so I want to emphasize that three things that you saw in this movie are directly related to the Faculty of Engineering. The disk on key was invented by our Professor Simon Litzin. Waze was started, the founder of Waze is from our School of Computer Science, Uri Levin. And the phone camera was invented, the cellular phone camera, or one of them, there are several, one of them was invented by Professor David Mendelovich, who is in our faculty. So the question that I'm always asked, what makes Israelis, and especially Tel Aviv, so innovative? So I'll try to convey this message in the next, in my presentation. So just a few words about Tel Aviv University. It's a relatively young university, 62 years old, with all the facts that you see here. And the special thing about Tel Aviv University that within 1 square kilometers, we all have all the disciplines, humanities, art, medicine, and all in one location. And that makes us to do a lot of collaboration and a lot of interdisciplinary research, which makes us very innovative. And so that things that you saw in the advertisement before, we are even better this year. This year, we are ranked number 8 in the world in innovation based on the number of startups started by our alumni and the money raised by our alumni. And if you notice, we are the only non-US university among the top 10, and we are the youngest university here, 62 years old, most of the universities here are hundreds of years old, so it's a very notable achievement. Israel turned 70 last year. Israel is also a young country, and during the 70 years celebration, Israel chose the 10 top inventions in Israel, and among the top 10, 4 of the inventions are related to Tel Aviv University. The Iron Dome was started by our alumni, Danny Gold. Iron Dome is a anti-missile system for a very short range and a very sophisticated system that was developed within a very, very short time because of the urgent need of it. Waze, you've seen in the movie, Uri Levin, the Disk on Key in our faculty, and Checkpoint, which is probably the largest software company in Israel, was also founded by our alumni, Gil Schwade. So just to give you an example, what it takes to develop something like the Disk on Key, this process, when you develop it in a university, until you commercialize it, it's about a 6-year process, started as a patent in 2004, and then commercialized to app system, and then SanDisk within 5 or 6 years. This is about the lifetime of a typical invention. If it's only software, it takes less, but this is also hardware. So other innovations developed by our faculty, not by our alumni, our faculty, our professors, they have the time to develop innovations and to start up companies. We allow the faculty to start up companies in parallel to the research and teaching, and you can see some examples here. We really encourage it in Tel Aviv, and it's beneficial for both sides, because if a professor starts startups, he gets roughly half of the share if the startup is successful. Another example is the dual camera for the cellular phone by Professor David Mendelovich from our faculty, and it's also now on the Apple, one of the Apples, and on many other phones, and I will show you a movie soon that shows another improvement to this invention. How do we encourage further innovation? We have at the university what is called the Momentum Fund. The Momentum Fund is a money given to a professor to transfer his technology from the lab to a company. We give him $1 million based on a competition, $1 million for 2 years to transfer the technology from a lab experiment maybe to a startup. And this was a strategic investment by several very big companies, a $28 million investments. And I will show you in a minute one company that already came out of this Momentum Fund. I think 3 companies really came out of this initiative. So one company, again by Professor David Mendelovich from our school, it's called Unispectral. I'll first show you the movie, and then I explain a little bit about our product, although it should be very clear from the movie what they're doing. There's no voice again. So as I said, this company started our Momentum Fund, taking a technology from the lab to a real company. This company, the people invested in this company almost $15 million. So there are several features to the enhanced capabilities of the phone camera that was produced by this company. In short, they do what we call spectral imaging. They take an image with your phone, and with the image that is taken by the phone, they analyze the spectrum. They analyze the wavelength of the colors of the picture. And as you saw in an example, they take a picture of a whiskey. Whiskey has a certain components of wavelength of the reflected light. They send it to the cloud, compare to a database of known data, and can analyze what's inside the whiskey. I'm quite sure that it can be also applied to Matzkal or to some other very interesting drinks. So this is what I want to emphasize, and tequila, I want to say is tequila. What I want to emphasize is this Momentum Fund, the only of its kind thing in the world, give excellent opportunities to researchers to transfer, to form a real technology. We have another form to encourage innovations, and this is among students. The Momentum Fund is the professors. We have a way to encourage innovation with students. We have the town ventures. So the town ventures give space and a certain amount of money to students, to undergraduate students, if they have an idea to start a startup in the university. And then if it is successful, as you can see here, it can be transferred to an incubator and to a company, again based on a competition between the students. They get about $50,000, depending on the project, about $50,000 and a space to what is needed. So the next stage after the town ventures is an incubator, our incubator inside the university, again led by these investors that you see here. This is for a larger project. This incubator is for about 500,000 projects. In this incubator related to the Internet of Things, you can see an example of the areas of interest of this incubator. And if it's successful, we don't know yet if it will be successful, we will consider forming other incubators. Some of the research done in the faculty we have 110 research groups, so this is an example of the recent topics that we invest money in. There are many, many more. I just wrote on the list, and I'll give you a few examples. If we want to have an effort in a certain area and we get a donation or an investment, we can form a center focused on this specific area, and I will give you a few examples. One of our priority areas is three-dimensional printing. Most of you have heard about three-dimensional printings. We focus in this center, about three-dimensional printing of heavy metals and high-temperature metals. This is mainly for the aircraft industry. So the dream in the future is that if an airplane has to change a part in the airport, there will be a big printer in the airport that will be able to print this part. It takes about minutes or hours, depending on the size of the part. So the airport doesn't have to stock all the parts of all the airplanes, which is very expensive. Another area which is very high priority in Israel and the university, smart transportation. In Israel, there are now 500 startups in smart transportation, and one of the companies in Israel, the Schmelzer company, donated the money to do research in smarter mobility inside the faculty. If you want to know the exact interest, I can talk to interested people after the talk. Another issue that is very important, what do we do with the industry? You know that in certain areas, big industries are more advanced than the research in the university. For example, Intel, you cannot compete with Intel on producing or studying semiconductor chips. Intel is a multi-billion-dollar company. We have about 5 faculty doing research on semiconductors, so we cannot compete with hundreds of PhDs in Intel. Or for example, Mobileye, the autonomous car company in Israel, in Jerusalem, they have about 100 PhDs working on AI, artificial intelligence algorithms. We cannot compete with them, so we collaborate with them. So we believe that it's very beneficial to collaborate and to work together with industry and to choose niches where the industry doesn't have the ability to study, or it's not in its first priority. So I'll give you again an example why it's very beneficial. The Broadcom company, I don't know if you know, it's a huge American Singaporean company, more than $100 billion company, I think, have decided to move all its R&D center into the Faculty of Engineering. And in order to put all its R&D, they donated us a building. This will be the shape of the building inside the Faculty of the Engineering. And again, this is an example, an excellent example of how we want to work together with industry, because in certain aspects, Broadcom and other companies are more advanced than the university due to resources and the amount of manpower that they have. So it's not only the benefit of having the space of a building, it will lead to a lot of collaborations between Broadcom engineers in Tel Aviv, students and professors. Another aspect which I want to emphasize, the modern engineer, the 21st century engineers have to be much broader than previous engineer. When I studied engineering, we focused on equations, on circuits, not much more. Now the modern engineers have to know much more. They have to understand the customer, they have to understand the user experience, they have to understand the product. So in order to do this, we think that to give them a broader education that includes humanities, and we opened a program, first of its kind in Israel, that combines engineering and liberal arts. In the States, it is around for many, many years. This is the first of its kind in Israel, and this is especially beneficial if you're working on autonomous mobility. Autonomous mobility has different aspects which are not related to equations and numbers that have different aspects. Just to summarize, we have an international EE program for undergraduate students. So if you know of any very talented students, it's very hard to get into, very selective. But if you know of people who want to come to Israel and study 4 years in Tel Aviv University, we have an international EE program. So I want to just to end my talk and say that we are also not doing only innovations and technology, we are also doing some voluntary work in Africa. This is in Tanzania and Africa. We send almost every year a group of students to help African village. This is in Tanzania. So this is a clinic that had no electricity, had no possibility even to operate a fridge for the medicine. So we sent a group of students, they installed solar panels on the roof of the clinic and let there be light. And I thought this is a small contribution, but it makes us good, especially for the students and for our name in the world. So this is the message I wanted to transfer you today. Again, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer at the end of the day. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Lee.